Thank you so much for joining me once again for another episode of Your Pleasure Incorporated into Daily Living. I am your host, Ellen Nicholas Rathbone, sensuality consultant and intimacy expert. Today's topic is very near and dear to my heart. It's about the care and maintenance of breasts. Now, breasts are a really touchy subject. They're called all kinds of things. The slang term for them is boobs or boobies. Less flattering are tits or titties. The more ancient term for them is bosom, all right? But breasts used to be and were once thought of as a very important body part, because without them, civilization would have ended a long, long time ago. It is because they are mammary glands that babies were able to eat when they could not eat anything solid. The milk was there with all of the vitamins and everything that they needed to sustain life. And then over the centuries, their position or the view of them changed greatly. And they went to being something that is, well, associated with, if you have big breasts, most people think you're stupid. That's not true. I just want you to know, as a woman who has ample breasts, I'm not stupid. Or a boob. You know, people kind of think of people who have large breasts as boobs, but breasts are a wonderful and functional part of the body. For 50% of women, they are a major erogenous zone. And strangely enough, for 50% of men, they are also a major erogenous zone. Now, it's not the tissue so much of the cleavage and the surrounding area, it's the nipples that people seem to have a problem with. And yet I find that it's kind of unfair, especially in the United States, where on a beach, if a woman's breasts were showing, nipples included, she would get arrested unless she was on a nude beach, where a man who has the same size breasts, even larger, could get away with being completely topless and nobody would say anything about it. Now, the funny thing about it is men have nipples just like women do. And that's the part that everybody's a little, scared of. Oh, nipples are showing. Oh my God. But the nipples are the last trace of every man's femininity. I mean, we all start off as female when we are in utero. And then 5 or 6 weeks into gestation, either the embryo stays with 2 X's as chromosomes, or one of them becomes a Y, and then it becomes a male. And then all the differences in body start happening, from the genitals start to form, and everything else starts to form. And the last thing that's left behind, even on men, are their nipples. That's the last part of their femininity. And their nipples absolutely have no function at all. But for women, they do have a function. If a woman is going to breastfeed, then she's going to need nipples to do that. And it doesn't really matter how big or how small the breasts are. With the right diet, any woman can, and again, it is with the right diet, any woman can breastfeed. Now, first and foremost, they are a mammary gland, and they are a very important mammary gland. And I think it's important to remember that they are meant primarily to feed children. So I don't understand why so many people, women included, try to shame a woman who is feeding a baby in public. The baby is hungry, the woman has the milk, and it's not like she's waving her tits around for the world to see. She's feeding her baby. And yet people seem to have a real problem with that. And I think that it's something that we need to relook at. Like, where does this prejudice against women's breasts come from? And really, just in our country, lots of African nations, women are walking around, their breasts are completely out. In Europe, it is not a big deal to see breasts in advertisement, whether it's, feeding the baby or just showing off the breasts. For one reason or another, they're a selling point. But in our country, it seems like there's a real big problem with breasts. And I really don't understand it, because they are just as much a wonderful part of the body as any of the other parts. Wonderful and necessary. Now, in this segment of the care, maintenance, and controversy of breasts, I would like to talk about the care of breasts right now. And I know a lot of this is going to sound kind of strange, but I want you to just think about it. That's all. I just want a little bit of, food for thought. So a lot of times, because of the messages that we get through advertisement, through movies, magazines, etc., women have a real issue with their breasts. They feel like their breasts aren't good enough. And that's why thousands of women every year go and have breast augmentation. Now, for the longest time, that breast augmentation actually cut the sensitive nerve that went up into the nipple that made the breasts a major erogenous zone. Now, I think they've changed the surgery around, but there's lots of women running around with no sensitivity in their breasts at all because of that. And so they went from something that was functional and fine to something that might look good and is totally useless, unless it's buying them dinner. And then, that's just so superficial. I can't even understand how anybody would put themselves under the knife just to have funnier, better looking breasts. Of course, if you've had a mastectomy and you want to feel like you're just as curvaceous as you were before, I totally understand that. But for the woman who is looking to just have a little bit more sex appeal, you're actually cutting off your sex appeal by not having the sensitivity in your breasts. Now, another thing I really want women to understand in particular, and the men that love them, is the thoughts that you are sending to your breasts, if any. Most of the time, the thoughts are negative. They're not big enough. They're not small enough. They sag. They flop out. I don't like them. I want to do something about them. You can't have these negative thoughts about your body and that part of your body in particular, and not think that there isn't going to be some kind of repercussion. We are a mind-body entity, and the negative thoughts that you send to your different body parts definitely affect that body part. So what I'd like you all to do is I want you to have a different relationship with your breasts. From now on, when you're taking your shower and you're touching yourself and you're washing them and touching them, I want you to tell them how much you love them, how much you appreciate them, how beautiful they are, how happy they are that they're an erogenous zone, if they are, because as I mentioned before, only 50% of women have them as an erogenous zone. But definitely change the negative thoughts to positive thoughts about your body and about your breasts in particular. It doesn't seem like too many women have negative thoughts about their hands or their elbows or their knees or their feet, but their breasts, yeah. And, you can't send negative thoughts to your body like that every single day and not think that it's not going to hurt you in the long run. So it's really important to have a positive outlook and a positive relationship with them. Now, the care and maintenance of breasts involves washing them properly with a mild glycerin soap, something that is not going to dry the skin out because it's very, very delicate skin. Another thing to remember is if you want your girls, which that's one of the things I call breasts, the girls, to always face forward, You need to do some chest work, exercise. You need to do some push-ups, some flies, anything to develop the chest muscles, which will give the breasts better support. They won't make the breasts bigger. It might seem like they look a little bigger because you've got a little bit of muscle behind them, so they add a little bit of depth to the breasts. But the bottom line is, if you want your breasts to be beautiful for a lifetime, it's a good idea to exercise. And by doing chest work, push-ups, flies, and any other kind of chest work that you can imagine, it will help to give the breasts lovely support. Another thing that is really a good idea is to massage them on a daily basis. Now, the massage can take place with just in the shower. So when you're washing yourself, if you want to cup them fully and just kind of rub them back and forth and just feel them, you're sort of giving yourself a breast exam on a daily basis. And while you're doing that, not with fear, but with love of and appreciation towards them, you're keeping on top of their health, and you're keeping the fatty tissue beneath the skin supple and spongy, and you're breaking up anything that might be forming like cysts. So it's a good idea to massage your breasts daily. Now, I am pretty sure that if you have a fellow in your life that loves your breasts, he's going to want to help you with that. So what the guys have to understand is that if you would like to help your lady love keep her breasts healthy and you want to massage them for her, the most important thing you can do is ask. You cannot just walk up to a woman and say, this is for your own good, and start grabbing at her tits, because that's not going to fly. But if you come to her and you say, you know what, those need to be taken care of every day. I love them very much. May I have the honor of touching them and massaging them for you? And if you come at it from that point of view and from that perspective, and you just want to help her stay healthy, you'll be enjoying doing it. She'll be enjoying receiving it, if it is not a psychologically painful area for her, and the breasts will stay healthy. Now, as I mentioned before, breasts are a major erogenous zone for only 50% of women. So if the person that you're with, if the woman does not enjoy having her breasts rubbed, it's a good idea not to pay too much attention to them and find out the area that she really does enjoy having stroked and rubbed and stimulated, and focus your attention there rather than focusing on breasts. But for the man who wants to focus attention on breasts and the woman who enjoys it, it can be a lot of fun. But just remember, just because they're small doesn't mean that they aren't sensitive. And just because they're big doesn't mean that they're not sensitive. Every woman is different in what kind of sensitivity she has in her breasts. And so it is a trial and error to find out how much intensity she can enjoy, whether it's as light as a feather, and feathers are always fun, or whether it's using clips, which can be pretty intense. But anything in between can be breast stimulation. Of course, it's a conversation you need to have with your loved one. Another area to think about when it comes to the maintenance of breasts and to the care of them is to avoid wearing a bra, especially a bra with wire in it. To avoid it as much as possible. Now, of course, in this world, we all want to look sexy and we all want to have a certain amount of cleavage showing. Cleavage is beautiful, especially if you've got nice definition in your chest. So sometimes, okay. But if you can, in your home, in the private life, walk around without a bra on, what you're doing is you're making your muscles work to support the breasts. If you constantly have them in a bra, then they're constantly being supported and the muscle tissue is not doing what it needs to do to support them. And so it gets weaker and weaker and weaker. You're sort of adding to the sagginess. So if you want to keep them strong, keep your chest strong to support the breasts, it's a good idea to not wear a bra as much as possible. And I know that there's going to be people out there that, oh my God, not wear a bra. Look how hippie are you? Bottom line is, we've all been sold a bill of goods from Maidenform and all these other companies that would have us believe that that's the healthiest thing for us to do. It is not. It is not the healthiest thing for us to do. It is a good idea to give the girls a break away from a bra. And if you can wear a bra that doesn't have underwire for the most part, that's a good thing. Now, here's another part that most people don't think about, but when it comes to the breast tissue, which is so close to the underarm, okay, it comes like right there, right? It is a good idea not to use antiperspirant. Antiperspirant does not allow the body to sweat, and that's why it's called antiperspirant. And so where do you think that sweat goes? You think it just disappears? No, it goes back into the body, and for the most part, it goes right into the breast tissue. Is it surprising that breast cancer is so prevalent in this uptight society that believes the advertisement that says never let them see you sweat? Okay, you don't want to sweat? Use dusting powder, use cornstarch, use honey dust. Use anything else other than an antiperspirant. Allow your body to do what it's supposed to do as far as sweating is concerned, because then the toxins are released from your body. That's why sweat smells, because it has toxins in it. And if those toxins cannot be released, it goes right into the breast tissue and causes harm. We have to allow our body to do its functions. We cannot fight the body. As much as people would like to believe that anything that is created by man for our convenience and for our societal uptightness is good for us, it's not. And not letting the body sweat is very, very bad for your breasts. So use a deodorant. Definitely, that doesn't stop you from sweating. And use some kind of a dusting powder. I recommend honey dust. And then this way, it'll absorb the excess moisture. You'll stay dry, but your body will still be able to do the process of sweating, which is seriously important for breast tissue. So the massage is very important on a daily basis. And washing them properly is a daily basis. Self-exam is on a daily basis is important, and appreciation of them. The kind of thoughts that you send towards your body and towards your breasts in particular are really, really important. If you have negative thoughts about them, and you're thinking they're just not good enough and you have to make them bigger, or you have to do some kind of alteration to them, that society has affected you. Society has affected you and is making you insecure. And I really want you to love yourself beyond what society has dictated as good, and realize that as long as your breasts work, and as long as they are an erogenous zone, and as long as they're healthy, that's really the most important thing. Everything else is just fluff. It's just advertisement. It's just somebody trying to sell you something. Take good care of your breasts, and they'll take good care of you. So moisturize after you shower. You want the skin to stay supple. Use a good quality moisturizer to keep the skin supple. And always express gratitude for this body part. If you send negative thoughts to your body and to your breasts in particular, that will be a very, very detrimental seed that you are planting. And believe me, when you're stressed, those seeds start to grow. And it is not surprising to me in this very stressful society that's full of antiperspirants and women concerned about whether their breasts measure up, that breast cancer is such a big deal. Yes, it has to do with diet, absolutely. Yes, it has something to do with genes, definitely, some, but it's really a mindset more than anything else. And if you're afraid of them because you maybe somebody in your family had breast cancer and now you're afraid you're going to get it, and so you want to be proactive and do something dangerous to them, consider your mindset. Your mindset from fear is going to promote a problem. Your mindset from love of self and love of body and appreciation for body, and the breasts in particular, is a completely different mindset that will send positive hormones into your system instead of cortisol. Breasts are beautiful. And in this country, we have a long way to go before they are going to be a normal part of society. I mean, it just seems like, men have nipples and women have nipples, but if women's nipples show, they can get arrested. But if men's nipples show, no big deal. Why is that? You see, we've sexualized this body part as if it's just a toy for guys to play with. It's not a toy. It's a very important part of the body that, if cared for by the woman and the man, can be a great source of pleasure for both. But if it is not taken care of, or worse, ignored, or worse than that, demonized, resented, not appreciated, then you're setting yourself up for problems. I hope that you're going to think about this, because breasts are beautiful. And, if you don't feel like they're perfect, I just want you to know there's no such thing as perfect. Any woman who has had implants in her breasts, she might think that they look great, but everyone knows that they're fake. And they can also pop, they can break. They're not really serving the purpose. Well, if the purpose is to make porn movies, then I guess they're serving a purpose. But if the purpose is to look beautiful, they don't look beautiful. They look so fake. I saw this movie one time. I'll never forget it. The woman was lying down on her back, and her breasts were two huge globules that were sitting on top of her chest. There wasn't any room at all for them to move out at all, because they were completely fake, and it looked so fake. And I think that if you think fake is beautiful, again, you've been sold a bill of goods. They're not beautiful. They're fake. Like a mannequin. Are you a mannequin? No, you're a human being. And you should be really appreciative of your body, of its health, of its shape. And if you're not happy with its shape, then do what you have to do in your diet, in your exercise, and in taking care of yourself to help yourself be the very best version of you. You're not going to be just like everybody else. You're going to be the very best version of you. If you're not happy, make the changes, but don't necessarily go under the knife just to fit some kind of superficial ideal of what you think they should look like, because there's just too many repercussions that can happen, and then you'll be in a world of trouble when you start messing with Mother Nature. Anyway, I hope that this has been a little bit of food for thought. The massage is very, very important. Moisturizing them is very, very important. Taking care of them on a daily basis is very, very important. And your mindset about them is very, very important. I mean, your husband, your lover can absolutely love your breasts, but if you don't, that's not good. You have to love your breasts too. So appreciate them for what they are and what they do and how they work for you. And if they're not one of your erogenous zones, that's okay. That's okay. Not everybody's the same. 50% of women find that their breasts are not a sensitive area. All right. So that doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with you. 50% is half the population. So half the population, yes, half the population, no. It's nothing wrong with you. Other areas are going to be sensitive. Maybe there was some kind of psychological block or something. Who knows? Maybe it's a karmic thing. Who knows? Don't bemoan what you have or what you don't have. Look at what you have, appreciate it for what it is and for what it can do. Take really good care of it. Send positive thoughts to it. Massage it daily. Wash it properly. And moisturize regularly. And while you're doing that, pay attention to them with love and with the intention of taking care of them and not with fear of, oh my God, what's that? No, take care of your breasts on a daily basis and they will last a lifetime. So I hope that you enjoyed this week's topic of breasts, the care and maintenance of this controversial body part. Next week, we're going to talk about sexual exercises and exercise in general as being a phenomenal way to have a long and healthy sex life and all the benefits of having sexercise in your life, whether you're male or female. So visit my site for lots more information. Thanks so much for joining me this week. I look forward to speaking with you again next week. Take good care, and don't forget, do your Kegels, males and females. It's really important. That's all for now. Thanks so much for being with me. Namaste.